hit the subscribe button if you care about your brain health, because this might be the most important video you see all year. Now let me ask you something. Do you eat healthy oils like canola oil or vegetable oil, thinking they're better than butter? Do you use those clear plastic bottles in your pantry because the label says things like heart healthy or low in saturated fat? If so, you're not alone. These oils are everywhere. In grocery stores, salad dressings, restaurants, even so-called health foods. But what if I told you that one of these everyday oils, one you've probably been told is good for you, is quietly attacking your brain? Not your waistline, not your heart, your brain. New research shows that some of these so-called healthy oils are directly linked to cognitive decline, memory problems, brain fog, and even early signs of dementia. And here's the worst part. These oils don't just damage your brain slowly over time, they interfere with how your brain cells talk to each other. That means your focus, your memory, your energy, even your mood can suffer just from using the wrong oil in your food. And most seniors have no idea this is happening, because the companies that make these oils have spent billions convincing people over 60 that they're safe, even helpful. But they're not. In fact, one of them was originally created as a machine lubricant before it was chemically processed to be edible. That's what we're exposing today. In this video, I'll reveal the 3 oils silently harming your brain and the 2 healthy ones that can actually protect it. You'll learn how to spot them in your food, which labels to ignore, and how to start reversing the damage naturally. So if you've been feeling more forgetful, slower, or just not as sharp lately, stay with me. Because this one food swap might be the first step toward rebuilding your brain health from the inside out. Let's begin with the most common oil in nearly every kitchen in America, canola oil. You've probably used it for years. It's marketed as light, neutral, heart smart. But what they don't tell you is what happens before it hits your plate. Canola oil is extracted using extreme heat, pressure, and chemical solvents like hexane, a neurotoxin linked to dizziness, fatigue, and long-term nerve damage. And even after it's cleaned, the structure of the oil is changed. And that changed structure? It matters more than most people realize. Because when oil is chemically altered like that, it becomes something your body can't fully recognize. Instead of being used for energy or brain support, it becomes a trigger for inflammation. And not just inflammation in your joints or gut, we're talking neuroinflammation, the kind that silently builds in your brain over months or years and begins affecting how you think, remember, and react. Canola oil is also incredibly high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6s aren't bad on their own. Your body needs a little. But most people, especially seniors eating packaged foods, are getting 20 to 30 times more omega-6 than their brain can handle. And when omega-6s aren't balanced with enough omega-3s, it creates the perfect storm. Brain fog, short-term memory loss, slower thinking, and in some cases, long-term cognitive decline. One study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that high omega-6 consumption was directly linked to increased beta-amyloid formation, the same sticky plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. So when you think you're doing something healthy by using canola oil, like baking instead of frying, or using it in a salad dressing, you could unknowingly be damaging your brain's ability to repair itself. Here's another problem. These oils are oxidized before they even reach your home. That means they've already started breaking down into unstable compounds, something scientists call lipid peroxides, which have been shown to damage neurons, the tiny cells that control your memory, movement, and mood. And it gets worse when you cook with them. The high heat in your pan creates even more oxidative stress, releasing toxic byproducts into your food and your bloodstream. Now, is canola oil the only culprit? There's another one, even more common, and it's found in everything from your mayo to your healthy veggie chips. It's called soybean oil, and research now shows it may be one of the worst oils for your brain. Period. In a recent study from the University of California, researchers found that diets high in soybean oil changed the expression of over 100 brain genes, including ones involved in mood, memory, and neurological disorders. Let that sink in. An oil that's in almost every processed food is actually changing the way your brain functions at the genetic level. We'll break that down next and show you exactly where soybean oil is hiding in your kitchen right now. Let's talk about soybean oil, because if you're eating anything that comes in a package, there's a good chance it's in there. It's cheap, It's flavorless. And food companies love it because it extends shelf life. But your brain, it hates it. That same study from UC Riverside found that soybean oil consumption altered genes in the hypothalamus, the part of your brain that controls mood, memory, and even hormone balance. We're not talking about a slight shift. We're talking about real, measurable changes in how your brain cells communicate. Even worse, these changes were seen independent of weight gain or blood sugar. So even if you're thin, even if your A1C is under control, soybean oil may still be harming your brain. And it's everywhere. Check your pantry. Flip over that bottle of salad dressing, jar of mayonnaise, or even that so-called healthy granola bar. If it says vegetable oil, soybean oil, or partially hydrogenated oil, it's time to toss it. The risk isn't just inflammation. Soybean oil also contains high amounts of linoleic acid, another omega-6 fat that becomes unstable when heated. Once it oxidizes, it turns into something called ALs, advanced lipid end products, which your body treats like a threat. These ALEs travel through your bloodstream and can cross the blood-brain barrier, where they begin to damage neurons, shrink memory centers, and reduce the flexibility of your brain's synapses, the connections that allow you to think and remember. Sound scary? It should, because many seniors start to accept normal memory loss as part of aging. But what if it's not normal at all? What if it's the result of decades of these oils building up inside your brain, damaging it slowly, meal after meal? And here's something you won't hear on the evening news. The rise in vegetable oil use over the last 50 years perfectly mirrors the rise in Alzheimer's, dementia, and mild cognitive impairment. Correlation isn't causation, but it should make you think. And it should make you look at what oil is in your frying pan. Because the next one on our list is even worse when heated. And it's often used in high-heat cooking, even in restaurants that claim to be heart-healthy. Let's take a look at corn oil and the shocking truth about what it does once it hits your stove. Corn oil is another household name that sounds innocent, even healthy. After all, it's made from corn, right? But don't be fooled. Corn oil is one of the most highly processed oils on the market, and it's been linked to some of the worst outcomes for senior brain health. The problem starts before you ever open the bottle. Corn oil is typically extracted using extreme heat and solvents, similar to canola and soybean oil. That process strips away any natural nutrients and turns the oil into a chemically unstable fat. And because corn oil is used so often in frying, both at home and in restaurants, it's almost always exposed to high heat, which leads to rapid oxidation. Oxidized corn oil becomes a source of toxic aldehydes, compounds that attack your brain tissue, interfere with neurotransmitters, and have even been linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And here's the kicker. Even if you're not cooking with corn oil yourself, you're probably eating it. Many restaurants, especially fast food and chain diners, use corn oil or blends of corn, soy, and canola to fry everything from chicken to hash browns to vegetables. You think you're getting a light lunch, but what you're actually getting is a plate soaked in oxidized fats that inflame your brain. And like soybean oil, corn oil is loaded with omega-6 fats, the kind that overwhelm your system, trigger inflammation, and crowd out the beneficial omega-3s your brain desperately needs. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. So, what am I supposed to use instead? That's the good news, because not all oils are bad. In fact, some nourish the brain, reduce inflammation, and help protect your memory and focus as you age. And you don't need exotic supplements or expensive blends to get them. Let's break down the two oils you should be using daily. One for cooking and one for cold use, like dressings or dips. The first, extra virgin olive oil. It's rich in polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that protect your brain cells from oxidative stress. It also contains oleic acid, a heart-healthy fat that improves blood flow, including to your brain. In one study, seniors who consumed extra virgin olive oil regularly had better cognitive scores and less memory decline over time. But here's the catch. You've got to use real extra virgin olive oil. Some brands cut it with cheaper oils like soybean or sunflower. So always buy from trusted sources and look for a harvest date on the bottle. Up next, I'll reveal the second oil, the one you should be cooking with, and it might surprise you. So what oil should you actually cook with? It's one most seniors never think about, because for years it was unfairly criticized. That oil is coconut oil. Now, before you worry about saturated fat, let me explain. Coconut oil contains a unique type of fat called medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. These fats are processed differently by your body. Instead of being stored as fat, they're quickly converted into ketones, an alternate fuel source for your brain. And here's why that matters. As we age, the brain often becomes less efficient at using glucose. That can leave your brain cells starving for fuel, which leads to mental fatigue, memory issues, and even early cognitive decline. Ketones from MCTs give your brain an instant energy boost, without raising insulin, without spiking blood sugar, and without causing inflammation. In fact, some neurologists now recommend coconut oil as part of a cognitive support protocol for patients with early dementia. One study showed that seniors who added MCTs to their diet had significantly improved recall, mental clarity, and verbal fluency in as little as 30 days. But beyond energy, coconut oil is also incredibly stable under heat. Unlike soybean or corn oil, it doesn't oxidize quickly when you cook with it. That means no toxic aldehydes, no inflammation-triggering byproducts, and no damage to your neurons every time you saute some vegetables. It also contains lauric acid, a natural compound with antimicrobial properties. It supports your gut, and a healthy gut supports a healthy brain. So how should you use it? Simple. Use coconut oil for cooking, especially high-heat methods like stir-frying, roasting, or pan-searing. Use extra virgin olive oil for cold uses, like salad dressings, drizzling on veggies, or mixing into dips. This combo gives you the best of both worlds: antioxidant brain protection, clean, stable energy, and reduced exposure to inflammatory fats that slowly break your brain down. And here's one more tip: read every label. Even healthy-looking products like hummus, protein bars, or store-bought soups often sneak in soybean or canola oil. If it's there, put it back on the shelf. The good news? Once you remove these damaging oils and replace them with nourishing ones, many people notice the difference fast. Clearer thinking, more stable energy, fewer mood swings, and often better sleep and fewer senior moments. But if you've been using canola, corn, or soybean oil for years, don't panic. In our final section, I'll show you how to start reversing the damage, one small change at a time. Let's say you've been using these oils for years. Can the damage be undone? The answer is yes, but only if you act now. The brain is remarkably resilient, even after 60, 70, or 80 years of wear and tear. Your neurons are constantly working to repair themselves, form new connections, and flush out toxins, but they can only do that if you stop feeding them the wrong fuel. So here's where you start. Step 1. Remove inflammatory oils. Go through your kitchen today and toss anything with canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, or anything labeled hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. These are the main culprits. Check your salad dressings, crackers, cereals, snack bars, even frozen meals. You'll be surprised how often they show up. Step 2. Replace them with brain-safe oils. Buy a bottle of extra virgin olive oil for cold use. Buy unrefined coconut oil for cooking. If you want to go a step further, you can also try avocado oil, which is great for medium to high heat and also rich in healthy fats that protect the brain. Step 3. Eat more omega-3s. You don't need supplements to do this. Just eat a little more wild-caught salmon, chia seeds, walnuts, or ground flaxseed a few times a week. These healthy fats counterbalance the damage from years of excess omega-6. Step 4. Support detox. Your brain flushes waste during deep sleep, so get 7 to 9 hours per night. Drink more water, and eat fiber-rich foods like spinach, berries, and oats. They help pull inflammatory compounds out of your system. And finally, Step 5. Be consistent. Changing oils won't transform your memory overnight, but give it a few weeks. Many seniors who make this one change report clearer thinking, sharper memory, better moods, and sometimes even less joint pain and brain fog. Because inflammation doesn't just affect the brain, it affects your whole body. And these oils have been fueling that fire for far too long. So ask yourself, would you rather keep eating something that was once used to lubricate engines, or switch to something that's been protecting brains for thousands of years? The choice is yours. If this video helped you, tap the like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, because we're posting every day with real food solutions to restore senior health naturally. Your brain deserves better. Start with the oil on your plate and the rest will follow.